So at what age do you think, John, is it appropriate for kids to start getting sports specific? Now they can still do other sports, but really when they fall in love with one, or
I
is
think you should let the sport pick you.
okay,
Let the
okay.
sport pick you. Let the sport pick you, and it should be done in high school.
What?
Like
Okay, high school. That's what. Just
I
for parents to know, that's when a lot of
let the
kids fall in
sport
love with
let the
their
sport
sport.
talk for you. Let the sport talk for you.
Is there an age that happens for a lot of kids, or is it just all
Sophomore
across
year of
the
high
board?
school. Sophomore year of high school.
Sophomore. Okay. Okay. So, and then at that point, you start training the technical skills, but how do you make time? How do busy parents ensure that their kids now they're learning how to throw as a quarterback, how to, you know, juke as a running back? How do they do those things and keep the conditioning aspect, the performance aspect? How do they make time for all of that as students and as busy athletes?
For sure. Well, as you know, with my philosophy and my protocol, they would already have an elite level of speed at that point in time because they've been training for it at a very young age. So learning how to play quarterback ain't really that fucking hard when you're faster than everybody on the field. You have the
Yeah,
agility
that's
already,
true.
and you have the arm strength to
As
go with
long as
it.
you can throw, all those other things, I
Like, yeah,
completely
like
agree.
if you have the eyes, the agility, and the
Yeah,
speed, I mean, you like and the throwing ability
it's
that like
gravy.
it's a matter
Yeah,
of learning the plays, and the way you're going to get the agility is by just actually in the game and in the practices. But you're not going to have the ability if you don't have the acceleration. It's going to be a lot more difficult to excel. So, and it's harder and harder to build the older and older you get because you start developing the habits. So
yeah.
going back to that though is there's still like the balance is this is like if you're playing varsity sports, right? The practices start at 3 o'clock, they end at 6 o'clock. From six, you can go train right after that, and you need to go train right after that. But when you're in season, you should be training, 2 times minimum a week, possibly three. But it doesn't. It's just more of a maintenance, right? Now,
Okay.
if you're always in season like baseball and soccer, that's a different story, and you're just gonna have to fit it into your schedule because otherwise you're gonna get what is called hurt, and that's the problem. Is what I was gonna say before is like you specialize too early. They could have been the greatest athlete in the world, but they got hurt because they weren't developed for the
Mm.
high demands of the sport. So if you
What do you
want
think
to,
that is? Like unequal development and like quadricep versus hamstring kind of thing. Like their body,
yeah,
one
it's a
set of
combination.
muscles are
Well,
too strong.
it's like you want to pull a hamstring. It's either you're overdeveloped or underdeveloped, right? You don't have enough,
Mm.
but it's just a combination of the fact that you don't know how to control your body weight. You don't know how to
Yeah,
control
yeah,
yourself. Like you're it's like essentially having a plane but not knowing how to land it, right? You can
yeah.
know how to take off all you want, but if you don't know how to land it, you're fucked. So these kids, they're playing at a high level and they don't have a destination to go to and they don't know how to land the plane.
Yeah, and probably a lot of them are overtraining one part of the muscle and the opposite they're not. I've seen injuries happen from that as well. So that
It's a
seems like
combination. It's a combination, but I think it's like also like you got to remember they're playing youth sports until
yeah,
they're not, right? These kids are playing youth sports at a high level, right? And then when they get to high school, they're going to like if they're going to the school like they're this school right here is essentially they could beat this school right here, DeMatha, could beat a JUCO college. They could beat some D2 and D3 colleges for sure,
so
right?
give people context that may not know. That's a local school there in Miami. Their
No,
athletes
this
are
was a
so
school
good.
back in what we trained this school back in Washington D.C.
Okay.
They were the number two ranked athletic program in the country. That's athletic program. So
Wow.
so number two athlete. That means that they were nationally ranked in virtually every sport that they had. They were nationally ranked we were four in basketball, one at any given time, between 1 and 5, no higher than 10. Football, they were nationally ranked. Baseball, they were nationally ranked top 100. Soccer, they were not like this is this is the second best athletic program in the country. So like these kids like can fuck around and be good in youth sports, but then they go to these higher level schools and the demand of the sport is way different. It's just
Yeah.
like from college to pro, it's way different. So you
Yeah.
need to be able to handle those higher demands, and it's a higher speed. And when you're changing directions and you don't have the eccentric strength to be able to absorb the ground and put back into the ground, that's a recipe of disaster. And that's what happens with these kids when they don't train correctly. It's what
Yeah.
happens when their demand of the sport is higher than what their outputs are.
And as you said, you do have to have an obsession. I went to the number one high school for football in the state of Tennessee, but I didn't play. I lost my passion pretty quickly when they were doing 3-a-days, and when it was just like the strongest linebackers kicking my butt. It was it was fun. It taught me discipline. It was good, but you're absolutely right. The level of competition at those high level schools is intense. So here at ProTrain, we want to get students young. We want to get them early, get them prepared. How many hours a week should parents realistically be prepared to bring their kids to ProTrain? Because we're going to do it better. We're going to get it done efficiently. We're going to do way better than what they can do at home or even with some semi-professional trainers that haven't been in the game as long as us. How many hours do we need with a student to make them this high level potential, to get them to this level
I want to go
starting
back.
young?
I want to go. I'm going to answer that, but I want to go back with what you said. You said that you were at the number one high school in Tennessee, and they were
Yeah.
doing 3 days, right? My,
Yeah.
a big name in the industry, Jim Wendler. I remember him talking about when he did the 5-3-1 method. Like, so that's a weightlifting protocol. We'll get that. That's a little bit irrelevant, but he volunteered at a high school in Ohio, and he actually did an interesting thing where he stopped all conditioning for all those 3 days, all that bullshit, all that stuff that just is for nothing.
Yeah.
He stopped that, and two things happened. You know what they are?
Probably less burnout, less injury.
And then we'll add on one more. I forgot. There's